Welcome back. Now, I want to focus only on San Antonio on this live stream, but I'm going to touch on a few stories towards the end. And it is 7:47 p.m. my time, so good evening. And wherever you are, good morning and good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Dog free as always. Feels good to do a live on a day off. Always feels good. Shout out, first of all, to all of the members, not only that are present, Gerard the King, I Hate Mutts, Stephanie Thompson, but also the other members who watched this video already. I shared this video with the members first. Hopefully as many of them saw it as possible. The next time I do something like this, I will promise to make sure I give you a lengthy notice ahead of time, like a day or so ahead of time, to make sure as many members watch it as possible. I'm gonna make sure to never do that again. But hopefully you've been had a chance to watch it. That way, as we watch it here live together, look out for any input from the members. I want to sort of kind of get into the groove of doing this because it really helps to give a better overall presentation or live stream. I meant to share a video. I may have shared it from K Nunn, where K Nunn sort of elaborated on some points that I made about the use of language in these articles. And that's exactly what I was talking about, where I forget to say a lot of things, or there are some additional things that I could have said, even squeezed it in, had plenty of time, but just it didn't dawn on me, or I didn't think of it at all. K Nunn added some things that didn't even dawn on me that I absolutely missed. I'm telling you, things like that it's more intimidating to dog advocates when dog culture critics do things like that, elaborate on each other's points. You understand? That is when you really dissect whatever it is you're talking about. That's when it really comes down. So shout out to K Nunn for that. Like I said, he is on a roll. Fascinating content creator. And here in United States for a while, I've been complaining about the lack of content from US-based media outlets. Another reason why I go so crazy when, other content, because all we have is each other, just YouTubers. Mainstream media outlets really are not on board here in the United States. Now, maybe there's been one and I missed it, and please, if I missed it, share it with me. But this one you see here is 14 minutes, 14 seconds long. It's out of San Antonio. So finally, we're about to take a look at and deal with the United States for a change. Man, isn't that weird? We're dealing with fatalities, people. Killings, torture. And it's like you can hardly find a media outlet that dedicates at least one special to it. Whenever they want to have a special about dogs, it's about adopting the worthless mutt. It's about being a complete nutter overall. They do not want to talk about the very worst impact dogs have on society. And that is what we're about to watch tonight. Now, I also, if you'll bear with me, I sent a tweet to this media outlet and shared this link. Hopefully, they're with us as well. Now, I'm giving credit where it's due. This was uploaded 9 hours ago. So I caught it and I left a comment, and we're about to go over this right now.
You're watching News 4 In Depth. 1 year ago, a deadly dog attack shook San Antonio and revealed just how much of a problem dangerous dogs are in our city.
Take responsibility.
Let me stop already. Let's stop already. How much of a problem dogs, period, are. The dogs that have not attacked anyone, let's be clear about that, do not have more morals than the ones that did. They are just as dumb and just as willing, just as violent and bloodthirsty. Okay? First of all, I don't want to project this idea that some dogs are insane killers and others are not, though. They all have it in them. All it takes is the right trigger. Shout out to BK Bourne in the house. Let's continue.
Dangerous dogs are in our city.
Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Your dog's killed somebody.
No. Excuse me. Take responsibility. Get these things out of our community. These things have to go. That is what needs to be said. These things need to be gotten rid of. We cannot coexist with these things peacefully and be in peace and be safe.
And the other lady I heard is in critical condition.
Oh, sorry about that. I got the speed cranked up a little bit.
Where do we go from here? We lost our dad. We wanted to make change at the same time.
And now, 1 year later, where?
Listen to the music they playing. Appropriate, right? That's the kind of music you should always play. Not no happy piano music. Not no happy music that you hear on the dodo. No, this is the proper music, and it's fitting.
Now, 1 year later, where do we stand? Tonight, News 4 goes in depth on dangerous dogs to see what has actually been done.
Yeah, you better say dogs each and every time. You better not never let me hear you once use the word pets. You better not use the word pets in referring to these mutants in this special. Don't do it. Let's continue.
We any safer?
You are shedding the truth on this because nobody's taking it serious until you showed up. I was running for my life, literally for my life.
You heard that? Now, I think she's talking about the media outlet. You can hear right here. There's some crusaders, at least somewhat of I think she's talking about the media outlet. Like, thank you for caring, for saying something, unlike the rest of the world. Let me say, this country.
To see what has actually been done. Are we any safer?
You are shedding the truth on this because nobody's taking it serious until you showed up.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Look, I just have to correct her. No, we're shedding the truth on this. Understand that. Let's be clear about that. The everyday working class person, like me and the people in the chat room, we're shedding the truth on this. But I applaud this news media outlet for just doing this special.
I was running for my life, literally for my life.
What changes has the city made? And is there anything else that still needs to be done? News 4 In Depth starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to News 4 San Antonio In Depth. For the next half hour, we look extensively at the issue of dangerous dogs here in San Antonio.
The big questions tonight, are we better off compared to a year ago, and what else still needs to be done? It's been almost 1 year since a tragedy had put dog attacks in the San Antonio spotlight. 81-year-old Ramon Nara and his wife were attacked by two pit bulls that got loose along Depla Street on the city's west side.
Okay, now we all know about this, and it was a big deal. It went viral. It was a gruesome attack. The man's dead body was right there in the lawn, and you saw a bunch of big burly firefighters hopped on top of a car trying to get away.
It was a brutal mauling, and neighbors used hoses and car horns to try and distract the dogs. Sadly, Ramon died as a result of his injuries. His wife, critically injured, and a San Antonio firefighter also bit.
The couple who owned the dogs involved in that attack are both criminally charged. In fact, they were in front of a judge earlier this month. Abilene Schneider and Christian Moreno face charges of injury to the elderly and a dangerous dog attack, resulting in death. We could know more on their case very soon. They have until March 8th to enter a plea deal. It's still undecided if they will be tried together or separately. For the family of Ramon Nara, though, the past year has been difficult. Their father and grandfather taken from them in a way they never could have imagined.
But they also know that their tragedy could help to save other lives. The News 4i team's Jordan Elder has been leading our coverage on this issue for the past 12 months. She joins us with the changes the Nara family is still calling for.
The Nara family told me that dog attacks weren't an issue that they were really aware of. Of course, they missed their father.
Did you hear that?
Attacks weren't an issue that
Jordan Elder has been leading our coverage on this issue for the past.
The Nara family told me that
The Nara family? Look, I don't care who that is. No family should be oblivious to dog. Come on, man. Let's not do that. Let's not even talk like that. Continue.
Dog attacks weren't an issue that they were really aware of. Of course, they missed their father, their grandfather, but they also want what happened to him to be an alarm bell for other.
Do y'all, excuse me, do y'all know there's about 30,000 stray dogs in San Antonio? Dogs that's just roaming around the city, 30,000. Nobody should be oblivious to the possibility of a dog attack. So what she's saying is that people are looking at dogs and seeing them as a cartoon, a harmless. I told y'all this is a problem. Seeing them as harmless rather than the killers they are.
Grandfather, but they also want what happened to him to be an alarm bell for other families.
Horrific scene. Horrific for the people that experience this.
The fatal attack on Depla Street left a hole in the Nara family that can't be filled.
There's a lot of firsts this year, a lot of firsts without my dad.
But now they're using their voices for change.
My father lived protecting his country, and he died protecting his loved one.
At the state level, Raymond Nara and other members of his family advocated for the bill that would have allowed anonymous reporting about bites and attacks and given ACS more power to investigate these cases.
No, you can report anonymously. You can report anonymously. You see a vicious dog out, attacking someone or something. Hey, you can do that, people. Just listen. If you see something, you can call and report it, no matter what.
Reporting about bites and attacks, and given Nara and other members of his family advocated for the bill that would have allowed anonymous reporting about bites and attacks, and given ACS more power to investigate these cases.
It was, devastating that we didn't get it passed.
The governor vetoed that bill, but Raymond and lawmakers say they'll keep fighting for it.
It's just really out of control and something needs to be done.
Change doesn't come easily, I guess, in the politics. And
look, man, that bill wouldn't have really done nothing anyway. If I remember correctly, I criticized that goofy bill when it came out when they were talking about it.
About bites and attacks, and given ACS more power to investigate these cases.
Y'all remember I talked about that, giving them more power to investigate the cases. One example was that the animal control could just simply do a visual assessment of the dog's behavior and determine whether it's dangerous or not. Again, that's not a preventative measure. We all know that. Let's continue.
It was, devastating that we didn't get it passed.
The governor vetoed that bill, but Raymond and lawmakers say they'll keep fighting for it.
It's just really out of
veto. Now, I remember spazzing out because of him vetoing that. Why would you veto that? Something that if you implement, it's not going to be effective anyways. They're just down with the program. They need those sacrifices to be made. They need people to make the sacrifices. Okay, it's a big deal for them.
And lawmakers say they'll keep fighting for it.
It's just really out of control and something needs to be done.
Change doesn't come easily, I guess, in the politics. And I'm hoping that...
No, with dogs. If it's against dogs in any way, that's what's not easy to come. You need to understand that. Look at how easy it was for the dogs to attack.
We could come together as a community.
Here in San Antonio.
No, we need to ban these things. Okay, let's get straight to the point. I want to come together, hold hands, sing songs. Ban them. If you got them, you better turn them in right now, or else we're coming to get them. We should do just like China government, the China government, where cops, they'll walk into your house and euthanize that worthless mutt like they do all the time right in front of you. We're talking life and death here.
And I'm hoping that we could come together as a community.
Here in San Antonio.
Do you think that the city has done enough?
They've taken some small steps. I think they've been reactive.
They vetoed that simple bill. They haven't done nothing. Especially if you got 30,000 dogs roaming y'all city. That is insane if you ask me. And many of them bully breeds. No, they ain't done nothing. Stop kissing up to people. Okay, let's continue.
They've taken some small steps. I think they've been reactive to what happened to my father. But there's a lot that needs to be
done. They did nothing. Even vetoed that simple bill.
Done.
They spat in the face of his memory.
He says there needs to be better notification about dangerous dogs in your area.
No, there needs to be no dangerous dogs there. That is not going to prevent an attack.
Notification about dangerous dogs.
No. Notification? If I see a dog being aggressive and I make a phone call and give a notification, there's no guarantee, first of all, that they come out and get it. Second of all, that dog could still attack whenever it wants. This is insane. Let's stop this type of talk.
In your area, maybe a hotline for ACS and lots of
are you serious?
Information about consequences. His message for you:
keep reporting on loose dogs and reporting on dogs that possibly could be dangerous.
No. Please strike that from the record. Let's rephrase that. Keep these dogs out of our community. These are not pets. These are killers that kill for fun. That's the reality. They kill for fun. They're bloodthirsty killers, and they need to be removed from society. Okay, let's do it's exorcism. Let's do a public exorcism on the masses. Stop talking crazy.
Consequences. His message for you:
keep reporting on loose dogs and
keep your weapon on you. Do not acquire one of these things. Stay as far away from them as possible. If somebody you know has one, do not go over to their homes. That's how we're supposed to be talking. Do you understand that? Stop with this crazy, insane talking. Lord.
Reporting on dogs that possibly could be dangerous in your neighborhood.
Raymond says his family knows better than anyone. It could save lives. For the News 4i team, I'm Jordan Elder.
We posed the question to the Naharas, now we're posing it to you. Do you think enough has been done by the city in the last year to address dangerous dogs? Go to news4sa.com to vote. We'll check back on the results.
Horrible. Man, shout out to San Antonio. All of you who do not want these things in your communities, view these things as a problem. Listen, get out of there if you can. There are better cities than ones with 30,000 stray bully breeds. And they're not even stray dogs. Listen to this.
later in the show.
Now, that wasn't the only deadly dog attack in the city last year. Another one happened September the 5th along Heidelberg Street on the northeast side. 47-year-old Paul Striegel was attacked by a neighbor's dog in that case. He was taken to the hospital, and nearly a month later, he died from his injuries. The dog was euthanized, and the owner of the dog receiving 3 criminal citations. Now, what has actually changed in the wake of all of these tragedies? The biggest development in the last year, the creation of a dangerous dog registry right here in San Antonio. And it was a result of the relentless reporting done by the News 4i team. We spent months trying to bring you the addresses of dangerous dogs, and the Attorney General forced the city to hand them over. And 3 weeks after we released our registry, the city launched one of their own.
Now that's important. I did a video. I spoke a few times about this registry, how it's not going to change anything, and that it's also hypocritical because they're basically encouraging the public to practice xenophobia.
Here's how.
But you heard what he said. He said that after the media outlet, released their registry, the city released one as well. Meaning that all it takes is for that one person to speak up, to do something. One group of people. But you gotta stand up and say something.
Dogs, and the Attorney General forced the city to hand them over. And 3 weeks after we released our registry, the city launched one of their own. Here's how it works. If a dog is deemed dangerous according to state criteria, it'll be visible to the public on that map you see there. City leaders plan to add photos of the dogs in the future.
If you've been...
They're going to add photos to those places, sort of like, like a mugshot. Look at how they dealing with them like criminals. They got them located on a map, a registry, same way you would a sex offender. Y'all projecting these things as holy and the best friends of toddlers and kids. How can you do this at the same time? How can you deal with them this way at the same time? They're no different from a criminal, how they're being portrayed here. That's because they are. They're killers, violent, bloodthirsty killers.
Bitten or attacked and want to file an affidavit. We've got a step-by-step guide on how to do that over on our website, news4sa.com. You can also report a dog that has attacked another animal. Remember, the only way the city can investigate is if you speak up.
There you go. The only way they can investigate is if you speak up. So you got to make them phone calls. Call the cops. Call animal control. We got to stop looking at these mutants, whatever they're doing, and not saying nothing. Whether it be roaming the streets, attacking people, like what you see here, or somebody bringing a mutt in a grocery store. Call them out.
Some Texas lawmakers say they support the idea of a statewide dangerous dog registry. It's a similar idea getting serious consideration in Florida.
So the registry. Okay, everybody's getting on board. The whole idea is avoid those places. You're practicing xenophobia. How can you at the same time be hauling these things into schools, into elementary schools, preschools? Trying to condition youngsters to walk up to them when they see them. How can you do that at the same time? And don't play dumb. That's what you're teaching them. When you bring these things in there, talking about this, it's to relieve stress or some nonsense. Bringing these so-called service dogs into these schools. You're teaching them to walk up. You're trying to numb their fear of these things. You can't do that. Continue.
Texas wouldn't be starting from scratch either. Austin, Dallas, Arlington, and San Antonio are just some of the cities that have already got their own registries.
So all it took was that one media outlet. And after it, the city released theirs, and then other cities released them. The anti-dog movement can spread just that fast because it's non-existent at this point. Wow. So the ball is rolling. I think this is a step in the right direction. If you ask me, it's a step in the right direction because at the end of the day, people are looking at dogs as their enemies with this registry, which is exactly what they are. We're treating them. It's a way of treating dogs like enemies of human beings. Good. I co-sign that because that's exactly what they are. And don't show me no stupid ad telling me to donate or adopt one of these mutants.
Scratch either Austin, Dallas, Arlington, and San Antonio are just some of the cities that have already got their own registries. Lawmakers say this would be a statewide resource that could help people make decisions about public safety.
Statewide and countrywide. See, when we're cracking open a map, before we go out, before we leave, before we go to a new city, when people get into the habit of cracking open the map, show them where the dangerous dogs are, their overall view is negative of the dogs. That's what I want. You know, I don't care if you're a nutter. If you find in a moment you're doing exactly what you see this man doing, you're viewing them and treating them like the enemies they actually are.
Statewide resource that could help people make decisions about public safety. We spoke to State Senator Jose Menendez about the idea earlier this month.
I think it would be a great idea for the state to require all cities to create this.
Okay. Now, while that may not be a solution, it might be a step in that direction. At least I think it is a step in there. First, you demonize them. Same with any other thing. In Nazi Germany, it started with the demonizing of the people. Here in the United States, Black Americans have been demonized. It all starts with the propaganda and treating them, speaking of them as the enemies. This does that, if you ask me. Not just statewide, it's not just a Texas thing, it's all across the country, but it's kind of easy. It's easier to deal with it state by state. And I'm going to do every state if I have to.
State Representative Liz Campos tells us she plans to introduce a statewide registry bill during the next legislative session.
The News 4i team was also able to get results for a Northeast Side neighborhood. 2 dogs were seized by Animal Care Services after a string of reported attacks against.
Are we making waves? Just look at the optics here. 15-minute special. I don't care if they're being motivated or inspired by us. It's good to see this. This is good to see.
Neighborhood, 2 dogs were seized by Animal Care Services after a string of reported attacks against other animals. Neighbors say they made several calls to the city after a group of dogs attacked their pets, and one woman decided to reach out to the News 4i team. After we got involved, officers captured the 2 dogs believed to be behind those attacks. Ferdine Springer told us her dog George was attacked just a couple of weeks ago. She says if the city's response had been quicker, other animals may have been spared.
When one animal is tortured, you know, we all are tortured.
No. And notice now she's dealing with torture. See how quickly they start to describe an attack on a dog as torture? Have y'all ever heard any of these people or anybody other than me and content creators refer to attacks on people, on the young, as torture? They never do. Only when it's a dog-on-dog attack. Because what? Why? Why do they do that? I'll let her tell you.
Tortured. You know, we all are tortured because, you know, we're all one.
We are all one. And I tell you, I told you, they think they're one with dogs. They feel at one with dogs. They don't feel at one with their own young, with other humans. These people, they just feel anti-human. They feel closer to dogs, don't even feel like they're fully human themselves. So why would they ever respect or show respect?
Together.
Since that attack, George has been...
We are not one with these mutants. like I said, that it's an abomination and unethical that y'all even brought them into existence. They're mutants with a whole host of deformities. Many of them suffer all through their life. They're designed to roam, to be out, not cooped up in no house. It's immoral. Go give it to a shelter. Don't ever acquire one again.
Recovering, Springer and her neighbors telling us they plan to file aggressive dog affidavits. That's a designation for dogs that attack or threaten other animals.
During the course of the year, we also conducted several investigations into how dangerous dogs are handled. When a court registers your dog as dangerous, it triggers a set of requirements for you to meet. But the News 4i team looked into how often dogs are removed when their owners don't comply.
Ooh, now this is serious. Please pay close attention to what she's talking about here, or what they're talking about here. You know how they have their dog, classified as dangerous? What happens after that? We all know you're supposed to get these requirements, restrictions, taller fence. But do they have to do that? I've been saying forever. They don't have to abide by that. You tell them they got to keep their dog on the property. They don't have to keep their dog nowhere. Nobody there policing them.
Year, we also conducted several investigations into how during the course of the year, we also conducted several investigations into how dangerous dogs are handled. When a court registers your dog as dangerous, it triggers a set of requirements for you to meet. But the News 4i team looked into how often dogs are removed when their owners don't comply. Turns out it's not that often. During our investigation, city leaders said they want to try every possible option before removing an animal from someone's care, even dogs considered dangerous. Last year, there were about 45 people brought to court for not complying with the state's dangerous dog requirements. Of that group, ACS executed 20 warrants to seize dogs. Out of that number, 5 dogs were ordered to be put down.
So people basically doing whatever they want to do. I mean, thanks for telling us how worthless having a registry is. Registry shows you where the dogs are that have been deemed by courts as dangerous, and they're telling you when they're deemed as dangerous, the owners don't have to comply with the restrictions, which is a bunch of worthless restrictions anyways. But we're getting into it. I still appreciate the information.
Out of that number, 5 dogs were ordered to be put down.
They want to make sure that we don't take a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So they want to give those individuals the opportunity to come into compliance.
To be put down.
They want to make sure that we don't take a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Dogs are not a temporary problem. What are you talking about? What does that mean? Why do you say dangerous dogs are temporary? They're a permanent problem. And you don't want a permanent solution. You hear what he just... Let's play it again.
Dogs were ordered to be put down.
They
want to try every possible... Court registers your dog as dangerous. It triggers a set of requirements for you to meet. But the News 4i team looked into how often dogs are removed when their owners don't comply. Turns out it's not that often. During our investigation, city leaders said they want to try every possible option before removing an animal from someone's care, even dogs considered dangerous. Last year, there were about 45 people brought to court for not complying with the state's dangerous dog requirements. Of that group, ACS executed 20 warrants to seize dogs. Out of that number, 5 dogs were ordered to be put down.
They want to make sure that we don't take a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Okay, if you don't want a permanent solution, that means you giving the dog back to the owner and just putting restrictions on them. You're refusing to take the dog away from them. Well, during that time, the dog inflicts permanent damage to people. I don't want to hear about you don't want a permanent solution. Look, let's listen to it again. The dog, after you give it back to its owner, could chop off the hands of 3 people, bite off the ear and nose of 2, 3 more, maybe kill 1 or 2. You know how much permanent damage they can do? While you up there experimenting with solutions, oh, we don't want a permanency. Man, if you don't stop with that nutter nonsense.
Out of that number, 5 dogs were ordered to be put down.
They want to make sure that we don't take a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So they want to give those individuals
what in the world are you talking about? Dog attacks, that ain't no temporary problem. What are you talking about? He's talking as if the dogs that are aggressive simply need to be taken to a trainer, and then that'll make them like new. That'll make them, suddenly non-aggressive. What are you talking about? These are permanent problems. As long as these things are in the community, they're a problem. It doesn't even make no sense. That's another statement.
The opportunity to come into compliance.
And in one recent case, 3 pit bulls who attacked a woman were ordered to be put down. It happened in November along a street near Fort Sam, Houston. A woman had her ear actually ripped off by the dogs, who were not registered as dangerous at the time. 2 of those dogs immediately surrendered.
That's another point. They're looking at this this map, telling them where the dogs that have been deemed dangerous by the courts are. The ones that have not been deemed dangerous are just as violent. They can attack you too. And so the problem is what? Not where the dangerous dogs are. The problem is where the dogs are. Dogs themselves. And they need to be removed. Simple as that.
But the 3rd dog was subject to a municipal hearing. The judge decided
3 dogs broke out a fence. Your restraint and barrier, the same fence that the courts tell you to erect. That's one of the requirements. If you don't have a fence and your dog gets deemed dangerous, they tell you get a fence. You get a fence, now a dog just crawl up underneath it. Break through it, jump over it. Registry is worthless.
Decided that 3rd dog should also be euthanized. The owner also receiving 10 citations from the city. So what exactly can we expect in 2024? One thing city leaders say they're planning to do is count the number of stray and roaming dogs across our city. The last time a study like this was completed back in 2019, according to those results, it's estimated there were more than 34,000 roaming dogs in San Antonio, and more than 90% of them were thought to be owned. That means people were letting their dogs get off of their property. Only about 3% of them.
Did y'all hear that? Over 30,000 roaming dogs in San Antonio. About 90% of them are owned. They're not strays. So people just allow their dogs to roam around the community, just like a brain-dead imbecile would do. Just like a low IQ psychopath with no value for life at all. That's what those people are. Hands down, cut and dry. You got the kind of character where you allow you, and look at how many of them are that way. 30,000 roaming dogs, 90% of them are owned. 10% of them stray. No such thing as a responsible dog owner, especially when you got a bunch of low IQ idiots in your population.
The dogs identified were truly stray dogs. In the future, ACS plans to conduct the study every other year.
Still ahead.
These are the most despicable people to have in your community. They do stuff like this. You got neighbors that are nutters. They're going to have their dogs terrorizing the community non-stop. This proved that to be a fact. I've been saying this over and over. Y'all think I'm saying it for shock value. He just co-signed with it.
Get off of their property. Our city. The last time a study like this was completed back in 2019, according to those results, it's estimated there were more than 34,000 roaming dogs in San Antonio, and more than 90% of them were thought to be owned. That means people were letting their dogs get off of their property. Only about 3% of the dogs identified were truly stray dogs. In the future, ACS plans to conduct the study every other year.
Still ahead, one San Antonio woman is still recovering from a dog attack that happened 7 years ago. Her message for recent victims and her story of survival.
Over the past year, the city has made several promises when it comes to dealing with dangerous dogs, but have they kept those promises? We'll update you on what's been done and if it's enough.
Of course they haven't. Of course they haven't. And I remember talking about this lady. I remember that. And that was a good while ago. I think that was on my other channel, my original channel. Look at that mutant rat looking, which is what dogs are essentially. A mutated combination of a rat and a pig. Disgusting.
Watching News 4 San Antonio.
Welcome back to News 4's in-depth special report on dangerous dogs here in San Antonio. Tonight we are examining where we are nearly 1 year after a deadly dog attack on the city's west side. For the past year, the News 4i team has been fighting for accountability when it comes to dog attacks. The numbers show that severe dog attacks are on the rise. Those are bites that cause broken bones, disfiguration, and in some cases, sadly, even death. During our reporting, we talked to a woman who was attacked 7 years ago. Doris Mixon Smith lost part of her left arm and her face was injured.
Wow, that's crazy. I reported on this 7 years ago. Wow.
She wants to see changes to prevent this from happening to anyone else, and she says she wants the city to consider banning certain breeds, including pit bulls.
You know, I'm not trying to take these people's dogs away from
banning certain breeds, including pit bulls. Okay, so she's not that familiar with dogs, which is okay. But I rebuke, I resent what she just said. Stop getting on camera saying foolish things like that, people. Especially if you didn't had your arm bitten off. You've been sitting up with a nub for 7 years. You gonna get up and say something crazy like that? Now, if you didn't hear what she said, I'm gonna play it again.
Pit bulls.
You know, I'm not trying to take these people's dogs away from them, but it's...
You made that statement, ma'am, because you know that's what people want to hear. That's why you said that. That's why you said that. You know that's what the public wants to hear. You know they're sitting up there looking at you like you better not say that you want dogs out of the community. You better not say that, and you know that's what they're thinking. And you followed suit, even after having your arm bitten off sitting up there with a nub. Don't care nothing about your life. You old anyway. You about to leave pretty soon anyway. You can say whatever you want. Still bowing down and kissing the butts of these nutters. That's gonna have to stop. You want these dogs gone. I speak for you. You ain't crazy, lady. You want to be able to walk out and don't see none of them outside. Because you don't know if there are some outside. You don't know where they're going to attack you again or not. Be talking crazy. You don't want to walk out and see more of these things.
You know, I'm not trying to take these people's dogs away from them, but it's obvious that those dogs are killing people and maiming people.
So why wouldn't you want them out of the community? What more they got to do for you to want them out the community, huh? You want to talk crazy? What more can they do to make them want you, to get you to want them out of the community? Lord, there ain't nothing more they can do. So you sound crazy right now.
Those dogs are killing people and maiming people. They need to make them be responsible for their dog.
Nah. There needs to be no dog there. If it's there, it can attack you again, bite your other arm off. A tragedy like this is supposed to make you snap out of it. But this is crazy.
The dog attack she suffered back in 2017 didn't prompt any changes in public policy, but
she should be furious about that. They're giving you a chance to voice your thoughts on how they responded to what happened to you. You had your arm bitten off. They ran a news story on it. Nothing was done about it. And you're going to sit up here and say, oh, I'm trying to take their dogs. Yes, you are.
she shares her message of optimism with other survivors and continues to push for change.
One of the people Doris shared her message with personally is Max De Los Santos. He was brutally attacked by dogs last year and lost both of his legs. De Los Santos was mauled.
Lord, listen to this. You don't want things like this out of the community? You think things carrying out attacks like this belong in the community? Insane.
A pit bull and German shepherd as he stood outside his home along Fieldgate Drive in August. Just 2 days later, or 2 days earlier rather, someone had called ACS to report those dogs. The call went unanswered. The dog's owner was arrested late last year. Danielle Henderson is charged with...
The call went unanswered. Wait a minute. Let's back that up. Lord.
Fieldgate Drive in August. Just 2 days later, or 2 days earlier rather, someone had called ACS to report those dogs. The call went unanswered. The
Animal Control Services did not answer the phone. Can you imagine if they cut the city a check, finally give them additional funds for more workers at animal control? All they got to do is just not answer the phone. Right?
The dog's owner was arrested late last year. Danielle Henderson is charged with serious bodily injury, which is a third-degree felony.
Good evening, I'm Melissa Vega, and this is your News 4 Snapshot. Cell phone service is back to normal this evening.
I don't know, they briefly started talking about cell phones for about a minute there. Might be some bills they got to handle. Then they went right back to the subject.
Dangerous dogs in our community. Doing enough to deal with dangerous dogs in our community. The I-Team will go step by step through city leaders' promises to see if they've kept their word.
Of course not.
Back to News 4 in depth. Dog bites aren't just an issue here in San Antonio. They are also on the rise out in Austin, and authorities think they know why. Both cities have the type of weather that allow dogs to breed year-round.
They have weather that allow dogs to breed year-round? Okay. So that's all of Texas. But I don't think that's the issue. That's not the case up here in Ohio. We don't have the weather have them breed year-round, right? Ohio weather, nothing like Texas. Yet dog attacks is crazy up here. One of the leading states in the country. No weather got nothing to do with these dog attacks. Sick of all this dumb babble, just throwing stuff out there. Don't mention no weather when you're talking about dog attacks no more.
Also on the rise out in Austin, and authorities think they know why. Both cities have the type of weather that allow dogs to breed year-round. Also, the COVID pandemic impacted a lot.
And don't be talking about no COVID pandemic. That lockdown ain't got nothing to do with the uptick of dog attacks, not even in 2020. That lockdown ain't do nothing to increase dog aggression. If anything, it should have reduced dog aggression because dogs spent more time around people. Y'all call that being socialized. So what are you talking about? That lockdown did not do anything to increase aggression in dogs. People simply spent more time around dogs, so that's why they were attacked more. More people acquired them. That's why there was an uptick in attacks. Simple as that. Lockdown itself had nothing to do with it. And especially even if it did, it wouldn't still be affecting them now in 2024. I don't want to hear that. Many of them dogs that they adopted during the pandemic was already grown anyways. And they say that you're supposed to socialize them. And what are y'all saying anyways? You couldn't social. They're saying that they couldn't take the dogs outside to be socialized. So when they finally went outside, they wasn't used to people. So they started, get out of here. And again, even if that is true, that is such a deranged creature need to be gotten rid of anyways. If it spend too much time around the people in its house, it'll start attacking people outside the house. That's supposed to be reasonable and acceptable to you? Lord, ban them. These ain't pets. These are deranged mutant killers.
A lot of spay-neuter programs in both cities as people were less likely to get their pets.
Look at that worthless, bum leeching, brood parasites.
Programs in both cities at
good for nothing. Just euthanize them. Euthanize all of them. Throw a euthanization party. That's money well spent. That way we stop hearing about these gruesome, sick attacks on us. I'm not obligated to choose no other species over my own. It's us or them. Make it them. Put all of them to sleep. I don't care how big or small.
As people were less likely to get their pets fixed.
You hear that nonsense?
Dog bites aren't just an issue here in San Antonio. They are also on the rise out in Austin, and authorities think they know why. Both cities have the type of weather that allow dogs to breed year-round. Also, the COVID pandemic impacted a lot of spay-neuter programs in both cities.
Impacted spay-neuter programs. You know how pathetic that is? Stop it. Stop that nonsense right now. That is just, that's multiple lies wrapped in one. Get out of here. I haven't even heard that one. They're making up new ones as they go along. Acting like these things are not naturally aggressive and violent and bloodthirsty. It always got to be some outside sources to blame. Get out of here.
Cities as people were less likely to get their pets fixed.
After the dog attack last February, the city came out with several goals to prevent it from happening again.
And tonight, the News 4i team's Jordan Elder is checking in on each promise to
Okay, let's hear it.
See where the city stands with them.
About 2 weeks after Ramon Nara was killed, City Manager Eric Walsh released this memo about cracking down on irresponsible pet owners. Here's where all of those efforts stand nearly a year later. One of the first changes that ACS made is that they can now criminally and civilly cite you if your dog bites someone. And
that wasn't the case before? Oh, Lord. She about to rat off some benefits that we all thought was in place anyway, huh? Something that ain't gonna protect nobody from dog attacks, right?
the first changes that ACS made is that they can now criminally and civilly cite you if your dog bites someone. And records show...
Okay, you got to take the bite first. And we all know it's not just going to bite down and let go. They kill me how they always assume that if you're attacked, it's going to be some minor injury. I just read where one girl was bitten on the leg. It took 3 months to recover from that wound. Those wounds last longer because of the toxic saliva. Stop downplaying bites. These things are serious.
Criminally and civilly cite you if your dog bites someone. And records show they're using it. The month after the Depla attack...
That's 282 bites. Excuse me. Attacks. So you're sitting back. We're sitting back like a bunch of dummies waiting for the attacks to happen. knowing that they're going to happen before they happen. That is insane. That's enabling the rituals of Moloch. That's what that is. Moloch would co-sign with that idea. Yeah, let's do that.
The city wrote 282 criminal citations.
They ain't wrote no citations. What about the fatalities?
In December, that went up to 540. The city is also expanding their Good Neighbor program, which...
Wow. Wow. So you waited for 540. Lord. Who cares about... You waited for 540 attacks. That's even more embarrassing. They talking as if the citations, the more of them they issue, the better they... No, the worse it make you look. Would you give them a fine? So all that means is that you extracted more money from the general public. That's all your extra rules did. Huh? Would you charge them civilly and criminally? Got more money out of them? That ain't preventing attacks. You just cashing in on the attacks more.
2 criminal citations. In December, that went up to 540. The city is also expanding their Good Neighbor program, which targets areas where a lot of 311 calls are coming in, especially about animals. And records show they're also canvassing.
Told y'all not to use that word. There's no reason to use that word animals just then. The title of your video is In-Depth, Dangerous Dogs. These are not animals. They're mutants.
A lot of 311 calls are coming in, especially about animals. And records show they're also canvassing for compliance in those areas. We told you earlier this week that the municipal court dockets have been expanded so that dangerous dog cases could get resolved faster. And ACS told us that program is helping hold people accountable. The city was also pushing.
Yeah, you come in there with a Jacqueline Duran face talking about holding the owner accountable, huh? Owner come in there draped in designer clothes, throw down a few dollars and walk out. Get out of here, man. People are pathetic. However, I applaud them for at least talking about it, because it'll at least open up the door for more people to talk about it. See? Get people talking. Eventually, you're going to hear people talking like me.
For new dangerous dog laws. We walked you through every step of that process last year. The bill passed both houses, but was then vetoed by the governor. This year, ACS got a record-breaking budget, and they've set out to fix a lot more of these issues, so we'll continue to keep you updated on that progress.
So in other words, nothing's happening. That's basically nothing. Investigative power. Huh?
A record-breaking budget, and they've set out to fix of that process last year. The bill passed both houses, but was then vetoed by the governor. This year, ACS got a record-breaking budget, and they've set out to fix a lot more.
Yeah, you heard that right. This is March. They said animal control in San Antonio got a record-breaking budget. Let's revisit San Antonio a year from now, and let's see how much they accomplished with this record-breaking budget. I predict it won't be much. I predict attacks will be worse by then. But hats off for News 4, WOAI San Antonio, for at least having this special and making people talk about it, because we're not even doing that. We're not even doing that, or encourage people to talk about it. Talking about everything else, we seem willing to be talking about everything else except these mutants constantly ruining people's lives. Now, San Antonio here recently, I don't know how many of you are aware, had a town hall meeting, right? One that they had recently, the people were getting heated. I thought I shared it, right? People were getting heated, getting on the mic, blowing off steam. Now, we seen them do that before. This article surfaced a few hours ago in the San Antonio Express. Residents at Town Hall furious over menacing dogs, maulings, lack of city action. Girl, they was jumping up on the mic. You know, they was heated. So it's starting. We're getting some backlash in America. Maybe it had to start on a state level, getting people to pay attention, because the nutters here in the States are among some of the worst in the world. Lack of city action, man. They're still using that delusional talk. We need to talk about getting these things out of here. We need to talk about putting them to sleep. Sing lullabies, I don't care. Have your last moments. Say your goodbyes. But we need to put a stop to this nonsense. And in general, speak out for the victims. You know what? They're actually in the United States. There's been quite a bit of pushback against dog culture. This story is one that I missed. Dog attack left me disabled. The law must change. Former postal worker tells his horrifying story. And I know there's many more postal workers who've been attacked and they have permanent injuries. Maybe a missing something, a scar, something. Y'all need to form groups. Make a Reddit group. Make something where y'all congregate and talk about it. Talk about your experiences. There should be like a Reddit group for these postal workers to report their personal attacks. Make a space where you could share your experience and people will hear it. I'll share it. We need to get something like that going. You know, the postal workers carrying scars like these. Look at this. Ridiculous. Do you want legs like this? Look at that. Just being a postal worker, you'd think he was deported, went to war somewhere. Things don't belong in society. More than 3,000 attacks in a year. Crazy. And where was this? South Yorkshire, UK. They've been having problems for a long time as well. How many of y'all, now I shared this with the members, and I'm gonna make a video about this with the members. I'm not even gonna deal with that right now. But there's pushback. We're experiencing pushback against dog culture. But in this story right here, it tells you how dog lovers get so much freedom. This woman and her dog in an apartment complex, her dog attacked multiple people over a period of months. Nothing was done. Landlord didn't do nothing. Nobody did nothing. These people get a free pass to do whatever they want and just terrorize the community. Owner pleads to let dog back in city after attacks. Council deems the dog vicious. Okay. She was attacked by a husky last month. Can you believe? Shared the mutt's name, 5 officers had to subdue and they referring to it. Wow. There you go. That's the nuttery I'm talking about. It's nuttery I'm talking. We supposed to be talking, you, in the article like this, y'all supposed to be talking about dogs as things. Because that's all they are, things. Y'all trying to humanize them? Lord. The nuttery. A husky that was cited 3 times for being on the loose and attacking people was deemed vicious. It took 3 times. Again, look at the freedom they give them. Vicious by the city council and will no longer be allowed in city limits. The lady who owns the dog, is that Jose? Is that a woman? Luis Acosta was a vicious animal under city code. A vicious animal is usually a dog. It's always a dog. What are you talking about? Dog that attacks a person or another animal without provocation and causes injuries. They said the dog had been spotted off its leash 4 times and has been cited 3 times. Once in February 2023, when it was running at large at the intersection. Again in September 2023, when it tried to attack someone and their dogs. And again last month, when it attacked a woman and bit her arm. Councilwoman Maggie Martinez told Acosta that she had to apologize to the woman who was attacked last month. She said, "I apologize to the community members who got bit by your dog." She said, "What is this? What happened to her was not right, blah, blah." You know, there's nothing surprising about that, though. About a dog owner wanting to keep a dog, even though it has attacked several people. And it's crazy when we look at an attitude or character like that. It's as if it's not news. It's not surprise. It's nothing new. That's what they all do. No matter how many times their dog attacks someone, they want to keep it. Which is, that's the height of being a sociopath. It's not like a nutter whose dog has not attacked anybody, but yet it tries to. It lunges, it barks, shows aggression, but it hasn't. Some of these people, their dogs literally attack people over and over, and they get accustomed to seeing people attack. They'll get so used to it where their dog can attack somebody and they'll just walk away. Won't even say a word to you, just leave you there attacked. Yeah, it's time to stop ignoring these people. It's time to stop ignoring them. Be sure to speak up. Don't be one of these people who really support these people. And that's what it is. If we don't speak against them, we're supporting them. Our silence means they will be untouched, worry-free, and just be able to terrorize people nonstop. They're going to remove more restrictions. They're going to allow these things into more and more different places. And they're just going to cause more chaos. We all know that. Stay strapped. I went and got a brand new magazine today, and I felt good. I felt good getting it. It was money well spent. Spent $34 on a brand new. That way, hey, you never know. I may have some issues, some problems, or I may have to release a whole magazine and throw in a new one. I'll be prepared. Better believe that. Now, I don't want to read about y'all being the victim. If I hear about y'all in some dog attacks, I want to hear from you, and I want to see attached a video where you defended yourself. Okay, that's what I want to see. Big shout out to everybody. Hope y'all doing well. We got some new, big shout out to the new people, the new anti-dog people, dog culture critics. Shout out to Shy Dio in the house. Chef, somebody named Chef with 2 backward 3s. All right. The civil judgment not gonna help much when you're sick. Exactly. It's not a solution. They're not even dealing with real solutions. So they're not taking it serious yet. And I don't expect them to yet. They're pretty much just getting started here in the United States. And look at that. They've had more specials in the UK than I can remember. But it seemed like it helped. It helped the bans. You know, that was the medium between the lawmakers and the general public. And they had multiple specials on how dangerous these things are. And now you see some bans in place. And listen, I'm all for bans. Even though they don't work, and actually designed to help promote dog culture, they open the door for discussion. They get people to talk about it. And that's all we need. That is all dog culture critics need, is for somebody to spark the discussion, and we're going to take it over. Okay? They're going to find out real quick that's not the discussion to have. So pray for America. Pray for Texas. Shout out to Antonio, San Antonio. But pray for America. Keep us, wish us well in our journey. Shout out to Charles D. Curry in the building. Shout out to Dog Culture Critics, said the lot did have a down. Okay, yeah. People spend when the weather is good. That's more than right. Man. Other, like I said, mainstream. I think mainstream should be dealing with the dog problem at this point here in the United States. It's very irresponsible. Been some gruesome attacks been coming out of the United States. Ridiculous attack. All right, shout out to Cruello DeVille in the building. Skull Kid, Stephanie Thompson, Cheryl Martin, right? About the danger. Yeah, it's a job, man. I actually need a break. Shout out to Animal on Control in the building. Be sure to check out Animal on Control's channel. Right. Oh my goodness. Culture perspective. Man, I don't know. I was talking to somebody. I think it was on my MMA channel. I feel real worried, man. Nobody else getting that feeling? Like we're getting a little too crazy and degenerate, where it's going to seriously backfire soon. Like terribly worried, like paranoid feeling coming over. The madness is just too much, if you ask me. And these people randomly going crazy, like Ryan Garcia, that's happening more and more often. Yeah, pray for the world. We all in trouble. Shout out to Drudy in the house. What's going on? Lala in the building. Shout out to Donna B, Macho Mike. What y'all into, man? It's Friday. 9 p.m. Friday, my time. What y'all got planned for this weekend? I'm going to take in some UFC tomorrow. And tonight, I'm going to spend about 3-4 hours doing laundry, a little house cleaning. Okay, you say you might be banned off Reddit after a comment. I'd imagine. Oh no, Cheryl, what'd you say on Reddit? What'd you say on Reddit? I heard a lot of stories about people getting kicked out of Dog Free. I don't know why. I don't leave comments on it, but I don't know. A lot of people turned away from it. Oh yeah. Shout out to BK Bourne, said dangerous dog should be determined by fang size, height, weight, etc. A dog that has never attacked anyone is still a danger to the public. I thought that was common sense. Why wait till after the attack happens to take precaution? Why? Why allow that to be the way you find out which ones are dangerous and which ones are not? Let's just jump into the lion's den with the lions as a way to find out which ones are dangerous. Oh, goodness. You can't make this up. Inside jokes in the house, right? There's 100% nutters who do nothing but go through the channels. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Skull Kid pointed out there's 100% dog lovers who do nothing but go through this channel's comments, reporting everything like a tantruming children. Yep. They go through and flag all my videos. They do that all the time. They'll just flag. You know, they can't think of nothing to say, but they want to say something. So because they can't say nothing, they start doing something. And that's the only thing they can think to do. Shout out to Max in the building. You say, notice they refuse to say what the repercussions are for those charges because it's basically nothing. Very important point. If you get charged criminally in a civil court, what are you going to do? What's the punishment? You pay a fine. Keep your dog. Keep the threat. Keep the problem. Just give us some money. I hate hearing that. When they say that, that don't help us. That help their pockets. It's easier to criminalize them. Easier to cite them. Stop. Shout out to Jonathan Payne, Mr. Payne in house, and my man Gerard the King. Shout out to all of you. Happy weekend, and I hope to see you all on the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.